Good day, everyone. My name is Andre Jan Basco, the leader of Group 1, and I would like to introduce my fellow members, starting with Darwin Josh Makiling, Jairus Pedernal, Mohamed Ali Tiwanakan, Jeneline Parr, Diane Garcia, and Clarice Reblesa.
Research title: Battling Misinformation. Awareness of grade 12 students in Nandi National High School in determining false information. Objectives: to determine the awareness of grade 12 students in Nandi National High School in terms of false information. Statement of the problem. First, what are the factors that leads to misinformation among students? Second, how do students battle false information? Third, what are the examples of false information received by the students? Lastly, what indicators do Landi National High School students use to determine false information?
Why do you choose the study? We choose this study because fake news today. The term fake news refers to the online information of intentionally or knowingly putting out or spreading false information of facts that manipulate readers into thinking it's true. And it's currently taking over not only social media platforms but also the internet. Fake news isn't a new concept. It is an old practice, and social media now allows misinformation to reach millions of people instantly. Before the advent of modern technology, it was primarily distributed by yellow journalism, which focused on sensational news such as crime, gossips, disaster, and critical news. The rise of fake news nowadays. Fake news is spreading like wildfire and has been a problem that has resulted in some unintended consequences.
Introduction. High school students now find it more challenging to distinguish between information that is reliable and viable due to the extensive broadcast of false information. Flexible lectures help students learn how to locate and evaluate online content. Students who lack these skills are more likely to be exposed to false information. As students progress in their education and begin their professional careers, they need to be able to distinguish bogus news stories from true, fact-check in journalism.
This study will benefit the following. To students, this study will know the importance of being aware on the fake news that they were receiving from their co-students, Facebook, and etc. To teachers, this study will be helpful to teachers since it will prevent the dissemination of erroneous information from the students and received by their fellow students, which will help to lessen the difficulty for the teacher and prevent it from being added to their thinking. To school, promotes awareness of the widespread misinformation that is affecting the teacher and nearly all the students at Landi National High School. Future researcher. This is extremely beneficial to future researchers because it will serve as a guide in their upcoming research, allowing them to have an idea of their topic and avoid false information.
Review of related literature. The mass distribution of false information has made it more difficult for people, especially students, to identify what information is legitimate, credible, and inversely. Librarians at Indian River State College, or IRSC, have been piloting a program. It will include news literacy into IRSC's learning management system in an effort to increase students' ability to differentiate between valid and false information as well as disinformation. Students must be educated about fake news as well as media information literacy. Social media users should be constantly informed through appropriate advertisements, workshops, conferences, and other forms of sensitization about the consequences of sharing fake news, how to spot and distinguish fake news from made-up news, and why it is critical to be self-aware before forwarding any message.
Synthesis. The researchers draw the conclusion that fake news signifies social order. Studies suggest that teaching media and information literacy as well as fake news to students is important. A strategy that stresses the assessment more critical thinking components, such as information sources, social and political bias, and cross-referencing fact and information from the other sources, should replace the checklist approach now used in media literacy training in schools. This investigation shows that fake news is still regularly spread and digested since that's what its creators are primarily trying to achieve. The aforementioned RRL will provide the researchers with the foundation of data for this study.
Research design. These researchers utilize the qualitative approach in gathering information for the study. Denzin and Lincoln in 2000 claimed that qualitative research involves an interpretive and naturalistic approach. This means that qualitative researchers study things in the natural settings, attempting to make senses of or to interpret phenomena in terms of the meanings people bring to them. This research study falls under the phenomenology category, people and how they experience it. The phenomenological design was chosen because it provides an in-depth understanding of grade 12 students' awareness of misleading info and how they combat it.
Research local. The researcher conducted the gathering of data at Landigi National High School, Municipality of Santa Cruz, Province of Marinduque. Instrument. The researcher used interview as data collection instrument for this study. The grade 12 students will be interviewed and the type of interview that will be used is semi-structured wherein the questions asked are open-ended questions. To get a descriptive answer, the researcher develops and utilizes an interview guide. A list of open-ended questionnaires perspectives about the false information and how they combat it. Moreover, a questionnaire will be used as a researcher's guide will be conducting the third interview.
Ethical consideration. This study highly embraced and practiced high ethical considerations. The anonymity of the participants was strictly observed through the use of identifier or pseudonym. The purpose of the study, its procedures, and outcomes were clearly explained to the participants. It was emphasized that participation in this study is purely voluntary and no monetary compensation involved. Permission from the school principal was also secured. Parental consent allowing the participants to be part of this research was also required. An informed consent was signed by the participants of the study. All information and data collected were original, properly transcribed, verified by the participants, underwent peer debriefing, and no making up of data or alterations of results. Appropriate words were carefully used in the translating the interview responses.
Data gathering procedure. The data collected will be qualitative analyzed by means of undergoing data validation and data editing. Upon examining the result of the data gathered from the interviews, the researchers shall present it using various research techniques in order to organize the information.
This is the presentation of our study about battling misinformation. We are hoping that this research helps you to understand how to determine false information.
Thank you.